Today, we explore the story the Conservative Party will never willingly admit to. A story whispered in phone calls, hinted in text messages, and buried behind carefully rehearsed talking points. A story that insiders claim reveals a quiet but growing crisis under Pierre Poilievre's leadership. This is the leaked narrative of fear inside the Conservative Party. And what you're about to hear comes from one place. The rumors and whispers circulating across Ottawa. Because where there is smoke, someone is always trying to hide the fire. Canadian politics has always had tension. Every party fights, fractures, and argues over its direction. But the storms inside the Conservative Party right now, according to those who've seen the cracks, are not normal. They're not routine. They're not just political disagreements. Some insiders describe what's happening as institutional fear disguised as unity. Others call it something harsher. Decay. Collapse. A leadership obsessed with control. Whatever the truth is, one thing is certain. People inside the Conservative circle are whispering, and they're whispering loudly. The first shockwave came from Atlantic Canada. A respected Conservative MP, Chris D'Entremont, crossed the floor to join the Liberals. Now, floor crossing happens in politics, that's nothing new. But the whispers from Ottawa claimed this wasn't a simple ideological shift. This was a warning flare. One insider said, "If a calm, veteran Atlantic Conservative walks out, something is deeply wrong behind the curtain." And then came the second crack. Another MP, Matt Jean Roux, was rumored, to be considering a similar break. But instead of switching parties, he chose something even louder. He walked away from federal politics entirely. To some, this looked like coincidence. To others, it looked like combustion. Inside the Conservative caucus, according to several staffers, a pattern has emerged. Pressure, discipline, fear, silence. Rumors from staff describe late-night calls. Not friendly calls. Not supportive calls. But calls reminding MPs of the cost of disunity. Some whispers mention phrases like, "We have Oppo on you. Don't embarrass the party. Think about your future." Real? Confirmed? No. But these are the claims leaking out from nervous insiders. One source described Poilievre's operation as a pressure cooker with no release valve. Another said, "It feels less like a political team, and more like a control room." And then, there are the names. The rumored enforcers. The internal police, metaphorically, of course. According to chatter around Parliament Hill, some point to Andrew Scheer, still influential behind the scenes, as the quiet disciplinarian. Not with public speeches. But with strategic pressure. Is it true? These are just insider whispers. But the consistency of the whispers is what makes them impossible to ignore. Because when multiple staffers, across regions, across roles, describe the same culture, something is happening. To understand why this fear exists, listen to the way Conservative MPs responded when D'Entremont crossed the floor. Not with disappointment. Not with reflection. But with rage. He was labeled a traitor. A coward. Someone who betrayed the movement. The optics were brutal. A moderate Atlantic Conservative walking into a cheering Liberal caucus. While his former colleagues burned with fury rather than asking what drove him away. And here's the whisper insiders keep repeating. If your moderates are escaping, you don't have a loyalty problem. You have a leadership problem. Rumors suggest Poilievre's inner circle is terrified of a ripple effect. That more MPs might jump. That more staff might leak. That more insiders might speak. Some even claim Conservative operatives are keeping informal, watch lists, of MPs who appear restless or unhappy. Again, rumors. Unverified talk. But the whispers are persistent. One staffer allegedly said, Everyone is being watched. Everyone knows it. Another claimed that certain MPs avoid private meetings without leaving their phones outside the room. Whether true or not, the perception of fear is real. And perception can destroy a party faster than any scandal. The question is, why is the internal environment under Poilievre being described this way? Some insiders quietly suggest that Poilievre's brand, bold, aggressive, confrontational, may win headlines. But behind closed doors, it creates tension instead of trust. They say he inspires discipline, not loyalty. Fear, not confidence. Compliance, not unity. And then, whisper by whisper, another name starts appearing. A name that represents the opposite leadership style. A name insiders mention with surprising respect. Mark Carney. Not because he shares conservative policies, he doesn't. But because he represents everything their internal culture is missing. Stability. Expertise. Calm leadership. Rational decision-making. Global respect. Some conservatives, quietly, carefully, even suggest that if Carney led their party, half the internal chaos wouldn't exist. That says something. Maybe everything. Here's the part the conservatives don't want Canadians to think about. In a healthy political party, MPs don't fear speaking. They don't fear disagreeing. They don't fear asking questions. In a strong party, unity is earned, not enforced. In a confident party, leadership lifts people up instead of holding them down. But insiders claim that right now, Poilievre's party is running on paranoia instead of purpose. Control instead of collaboration. Silencing instead of listening. One alleged quote from a disgruntled staffer sums it up. We spend more time managing fear than policy. If true, that's not strategy, that's collapse. Because here is the ultimate truth whispered across Ottawa. When fear stops working, the machine breaks. People talk. People leak. People leave. And fear, once exposed, loses all its power. And what's left behind? Not a movement. Not a unified force. Just fragments of a party exhausted by its own internal battles. And overshadowed by leaders who offer calm, competence, and economic credibility. Leaders like Mark Carney. So today, you've heard the whispers. The rumors. The anonymous claims. The quiet leaks. The internal storms. And the shadow of fear that insiders say hangs over the Conservative Party. Is every rumor true? No one can say for sure. But when this many people in Ottawa whisper the same story, something real is happening behind the curtain. This is the leaked narrative. This is the culture of fear. And this is only the beginning. Stay tuned. Because the next leak might be even bigger.